That I am.
All right, Jaden, the news.
Well, today is Tuesday, July 8th, and at the top of the story here, the Supreme Court on Tuesday backed President Donald Trump's effort to carry out mass firings and reorganizations at federal agencies, putting on hold a lower court order that had temporarily blocked the president from taking those steps without the approval of Congress. The decision is the latest in a series of significant wins for Trump at the Supreme Court, including an opinion making it more difficult to challenge executive orders and rulings backing the administration's deportation policies. In an unsigned order, the High Court said that lower courts had stopped the plans based on the administration's general effort rather than specific agency reduction in force plans that would drastically cut the size of the government workforce. No vote count was released, but Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, a member of the court's liberal wing, dissented. The case stems from an executive order Trump signed in mid February that kicked off the process of significantly reducing the size of the federal government agencies, an issue the president campaigned on last year. Departments subsequently announced plans to lay off tens of thousands of employees. But federal departments are created by law, and lower courts have repeatedly held that the White House can't unilaterally wipe them out or leave them so short staffed that they cannot carry out their legal responsibilities. Because the government is likely to succeed on its argument that the executive order and memorandum are lawful, we grant the application, the court wrote in a brief order. We expressed no view on the legality of any agency, RIF, or reorganization plan produced or approved pursuant to the executive order and memorandum, the court wrote. So let's get into this. The court really doesn't have an argument for this, it seems. They don't have the vote counts. They're very brief in their assessment of this case. Just let him do whatever the hell he wants, regardless. And it seems as though they've
Yeah,
capitulated. They don't really have an ideological standing on, or a legal constitutional standing on this. It's just whatever. Here you go. Here's a win.
right. I don't. Yeah, I'm a bit confused. This was Trump's executive order, and he didn't have like anything, any reason.
Yeah. Of course, don't have any
I,
reason either.
I mean, that means that the president could technically just fire everyone in the federal government
Yeah,
Yep.
for any reason.
pretty much.
Well, I mean, they already did, right? Like, they didn't do proper performance reviews. A lot of them, they just were like, okay, fire all those people.
Well, that's not great. Um, it was 8-1.
Really?
That's what it was.
Well, that's disappointing.
What was the? There had to be like a legal reason for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what their conclusion was, but the outcome here really is going to be if he can fire anyone, you can imagine the terror that he can rain. I think the legal reasoning, if I had to guess, probably would have been that, well, he's an executive and they're a federal officer, so they serve at will the president because that's the standard that they've had. But if an entire, like, if you can crumble an entire agency by just firing people, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
insane. I think this had to do. I just want to clear. Did this have to do with a layoff plan, or was this was Trump's executive layoff plan?
His executive layoff plan.
Yeah. So this is not good. I basically, like, from the right wing perspective, gives them an insane amount of leverage to fire everyone
Yeah.
or anyone that they want and reign control. And it's not just getting rid of like all of the agencies they view as nothing or whatever, but it's also getting rid of people that denounce Trump, people that are openly against him. And you can fill up.
Yeah.
And this, by the way, is an interesting thing because this is the plight of despots. You can take an entire group of people that are qualified, throw them out there so that you can replace them with people that are loyal. And you get a lot
Yes,
more of
man.
your stuff done, but it ends up being far more detrimental to literally everything. So,
Yeah. And
This
this
is
order covers more than a dozen different agencies from energy, the VA, Treasury, Health and Human Services. The CDC is set to lose some 10,000 positions. I don't know what exactly they expect from this other than blind loyalty and a complete catastrophe in the waiting.
Yeah.
This is all part of Project 2025. They have
Hmm.
this outlined in Project 2025, and it's just a consolidation of power within the executive branch, and they're doing that through loyalists. He's in control of the bureaucracy, quote unquote, through the executive branch. He has the power now through the Supreme Court as well to fire and hire whoever he wants, and they're going to use this. They're going to use the excuse that there's too much bureaucracy and too much red tape within the government, not understanding that the people that they're firing are the ones that are keeping our water safe, are the ones that are keeping our food safe. And they're going to say this is eliminating money. The reality of it is we have 2.5 million people who work for the federal government through the bureaucratic systems, right? The people who checks and balances on everything from our city water to the air quality. There's about 2.5 million people. In the 1970s, there was 2 million people. So in the last 40 years, we've only hired 500,000 more people, and our population has over doubled. So if anything, we don't have enough people paying attention to what's going on, and the corporations are allowed to get away with literal murder with people not paying attention. So that's what's going on. That's how I see it. This is Project 2025.
Yep.
Yeah. Paige, anything?
No, I think it's awful, obviously, and I think they've already done it. As soon as Doge came in and was activated, so I'm not surprised. I'm surprised it was a 9-1. Wait, what was the decision?
It was 8-1.
8-1. That I find a little surprising, but yeah.
Yeah.
I have to wonder what the
Yep.
reasoning for that was.
It's
But,
basically just handing it over to right wing authoritarianism because it's a double standard, right? Like it is a double standard. Like Trump will fire and the Republicans will fire literally everyone, and the Democrats won't do that. So there's a major imbalance there.
I have to wonder how all of these significant shifts in the executive's capabilities might play into the favor of the next Democratic president, and whether or not they
I've
can
wondered
fire all
that
the loyalists that
too.
were hired.
I've wondered that too. Like, because I'm just gonna. If I was
Like they
president,
can't expect to just be Republican all the rest of American history.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
I think this sort of
we'll
plays
see.
into our next story here.